Hello, everyone. Ray with Coffee with Ray. It's been a little bit since I've been on, so I'm working on a couple different platforms and starting a few different businesses. But I wanted to get this information out just to let you know that I will be consistent with posting here pretty soon, at least one time a week. So what we're going to talk about today is with Coffee with Ray, and I'm already drank my coffee, so I've got a Jocko energy drink. So the is base hits, hitting singles. I've started a digital marketing web development company, and I run into a lot of things as people want to hit grand slams all the time. They want to get up the bat, take the first pitch high and inside, and ride it to the fence. And for those of you who do not understand baseball terminology, we want to win before we do the work, and that's not something that works out for everyone. I guess there is such thing as a one-hit wonder, but they're usually a million hit wonders. Behind the scenes, there's been an enormous amount of work being done, and that one thing, that one single, that one free throw, or that one dunk, or that one video or podcast just blows everything up. But that's not the reality of what they were doing. I mean, you just don't turn on your computer and become a millionaire. It looks that way because we have a very deceptive world right now to say that the internet's all things, and it's the only way. The thing of it is we can't live without it, especially in the business world. But we could probably maybe go back to some old school principles when it comes to how we view what reality is in the business world and our personal world. Things have become very, very distorted. And there are people out there doing the work, and they're hustling, and they're trying, and they're failing because they're watching all these people hit these grand slams because that's the only thing that is being shown. I guess the grind or failure culture on YouTube and stuff is coming around. You see a lot more of the motivational speakers or online coaches and all that stuff coming up with the grind or the failure mentality or the failure method where, we want a one-hit wonder. Well, the thing of it is if you've got a couple $1,000,000 to throw at internet or social media marketing, you could expedite that. And that's something that not too long ago, I mean, it seems like it was a million years ago, but not too long ago, you couldn't just start a business and throw, a couple $1,000s at it and get people buying your product. You had to actually know people. You had to market yourself network-wise, so there is a difference in today's society that I want people to pay attention to and really, really see the value of the making of the process. So whatever it is you want to do, if it's start your own business, go to college, or whatever it is, it's going to take work. You might get lucky in the work. You might get to a place where you can say, man, the work, I didn't have to work near as hard. And that's what you'll hear with a lot of people, is that when they're out there grinding, success comes to people in movement. And if you're not moving, then you're losing. So I want to break down just a couple of things for you. And of course, this is, Coffee with Ray is a biblical-based podcast that there'll be times where we'll have business conversations. There'll be times that'll be all conversations about the Bible, and hopefully I can bring on some people to share testimonies, and probably people a lot smarter than me being able to get involved with the Bible and know things a lot better than I do and can communicate them better. So today is, I always reference everything that I try to do in my life, and by no means am I perfect. I've came out from a ocean of failure here in the last 3 or 4 years. I lost a business, I had to file bankruptcy, lost a house, lost vehicles, ended up having to move to a different state. And then I moved to a different state, and stuff still didn't work out for me. Gained a bunch of weight, gained a bunch of medical issues, and a lot of it was because I just forgot how hard it was to do the work. I was looking for a win with one pitch instead of just going out there and doing the basics, and being happy with the basics, being happy with the base hits, or being happy with writing a list of 5 things to do down and accomplishing it. It's very difficult. And I know some of you might be in sales, and some of you probably are not. That means it's probably a smaller number of people who are not in sales. But sales is an extremely difficult place to live in. It can be very rewarding, but then again, it can be very painful, and you got to have a very good mindset to keep going. I think the key to this is that when you're failing in your personal life, it's hard to see progress in your business or your goal life. I say, your goals. So Matthew 6:34. So I do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Well, we could write a sermon on that. There is enough trouble right now. There is enough problems. There's enough thorns and thistles for you to go clear out of your garden. And you just got to hit base hits. You've got to get up to the plate, and you've got to be brave, and you got to swing the bat. A lot of people don't realize is that when that happens, to get up the bat, sometimes you got to have a team. And a team sometimes is the hardest thing to come by, because it's hard to know who to trust. And if you spend a whole bunch of money, you can have a whole bunch of people trusting you online with their coaching models. But you need to get in a relationship with someone that that's going to tell you the truth, even when that could be painful. So lesson 1 here in hitting base hits, you got to have a team. And I'm not saying you got to have 55 people around you, but you have to have a few people who know what your goals are and would be willing to be honest with you when you're trying to do this. Say, hey, look, this is what I want to do. I want to start a business. Okay, well, when you want to start it? This is when I want to start it. Okay, what we're going to do to hit base hits and to do the little things and to get busy on making progress and not trying to go out there and win it all in one swing. Let's look at one of the most famous failure models in the world would be Michael Jordan. He really didn't have anything going for him until he hit one shot. But boy, he took a lot of shots before that, made a lot before that, but he became the go-to guy because he was willing to go do the work. And I think that's where we look at people like Michael Jordan. We expect for us to get his results without his work. And I don't think people really understand how hard it is to do things at that level at that time that he was doing it. So get you a team. To get up to the plate or the free throw line, or you got to get a team, and that team could just be one person. It just someone to help you with accountability, and it might not even be forever, but it is a good place to maybe pick up the phone and call because you're not feeling well and you don't want to do the basics and you don't want to get up the bat, because here's the deal: is you're not going to hit a base hit every time. You're going to strike out. You're going to get a base on balls, and to be flexible in how you get to your goal sometimes takes someone looking from a different point of view. So that's number 1, get a team. Number 2, don't be afraid to strike out. I played baseball when I was young, and that had to be the most fearful thing in the world, is to get up there and strike out. But Babe Ruth, he launched more home runs than a lot of people could ever imagine during the time that was happening. Was even more of a major accomplishment, but he did hold the record in strikeouts too. So let's be honest with. Sometimes you get up the bat and man, it just doesn't go right. Sometimes you sit down with your first customer and they tell you to get out of their office, or you apply for a college and they tell you your grades are not good enough, or it's going to be too expensive. Just because you get a no, or just because you get an adverse reaction to your effort doesn't mean that all hope is lost. So the hope in everything is that we get another chance to step up to whatever proverbial plate that you're going to be stepping up to. And I like talking towards the business side because that's where my passion is. And I've started a company, Seventh Man Marketing. The whole premise of that business is to give that holistic, on your side digital marketing kind of thing, and I don't want to be like these other people who charge enormous amount of stuff for a little bit of result. I'd much rather do it the opposite direction because my mindset's not for profit. I have to profit, but I want to produce a clientele that is out there killing it, and they're using my stuff to kill it. And then I know for a fact that if I keep getting up to bat and I'm helping people win on their level, even if I'm not winning at the level I believe so, that there's going to be a pitch come to me that I can take for a ride, that I can hit the green mile and throw a good run to it. So we got to get a team, then we got to be able to get up to bat even if we're scared to. I remember striking out a lot, and it was more of a pride issue. You just want to get up there and you want to hit the ball a long way so everyone thinks good about you, but that's not reality. The reality of it is that the times I struck out is the times I learned. So that's the third thing, is that you've got to be willing to learn on what goes wrong, because that's where most of your lessons are going to be. If you don't learn on the broken, you don't learn on the bad, then you'll never learn from the good, because people don't learn from good. Even someone's probably sitting here disagreeing with me right now, but I will guarantee you, if you look back at your life, and the successes never taught you as much as the failures. And the reason is because the failures have a deeper emotion, a longer lasting emotion. So, tomorrow, that's why lottery, sorry, I can't talk. That's why lottery winners end up poor, because they never did the work to understand money, and then they were given the windfall, and they just didn't know how to play the game, and they didn't know how to be safe, because they didn't make mistakes that cost them and then got the win. So if you get up to bat in your business or your school or your job, and you're trying to get a promotion, and you hit a grand slam, you better go find some chaos. And that's going to be counterculture of what a lot of people want to do. Every time I win, every time something really goes well for me, and I feel as if I did not really have to get all the effort behind it to make it happen, I take it as a gift, and I say that it's a gift from my Creator, and God, and through Jesus, and my take on life with how I see and translate the Bible into my mind, is that there's times where we're given really nice things, and we just need to be able to learn from them. So if I pick up the phone and I get that first client, because I'm a salesman full time, this is what I do on top of, at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, work on my business. So during the day, I'm cold calling people, and then at night I'm cold calling people. So it feels like I never get to talk to anyone that is looking forward to hearing from me. I'm always interrupting. So we have to interrupt the world to make a difference in it. So when you pick up the phone, or you do something, and man, that first person you talk to says yes, I don't stop then. I keep doing what my plan is, and my plan is usually got a number. I'm going to get so many appointments, or I'm going to make so many calls. So that's probably the best way to go, is that don't end on, I don't think it's bad to end on a win, but I think it's more important to end on playing all 9 innings, or all 4 quarters, or because first downs don't come off the first handoff or the first pass. Sometimes they do, but not all the time. If they did, then football would be very boring to watch, because there wouldn't be any drama. How many times are we upset with our college or SEC football team when on 3rd down and 6, they run the ball. I mean, right now, I'm sure there's people right now raising their hand and amening and all this stuff because it's like, why are you doing that? I mean, why are you doing that? Well, here's the deal. They got to run their play and they got to play their game. So play your game. This is not some video influencer or YouTube millionaire, Bitcoin guy. This is no one else's game but yours. And when it comes down to it, I think you should be learning all the time. I think most of your learning should be from reading because, we've been taught even as young that when you read, you tend to be a better judgment of the character of what you're reading. When you listen to something, because we grew up listening to our parents tell us what their truth was, we take everything in as like, okay, well, this is stone, or there is people who just don't believe anything anyone says. So I'm not saying not to look through and follow some of these very successful business owners, and I would say probably go after the ones who have got a track record of more than like 4 or 5 years, and then maybe even someone who's got a business or two, and not all their stuff is always going to match up with your morals or the way you want to live your life, but you can cut and paste. Don't throw away the baby with the bathwater kind of deal. That's what I was told when I was young. But when you open up a physical book and you read it, your mind already has, it just has, okay, these are my standards. And then when you start reading something, your standards either get helped or pushed against, which is a good good thing. Is like, hey, my line, we need to be taught, but you want to be taught the right things. So long story being endless, there is that I believe that if you're not reading, then you're being left behind. And right now, there is thousands of books out there, from prospecting to building a business to, and they're very, very good books. There's from your faith all the way to how to run a multi-million-dollar, 6 or 7 or 8 digit business. And I mean, even saying that sometimes blows my mind, but there's $100 million companies out there. There's billion-dollar companies. I believe if that's what your dream is, that you should go for it. But don't expect a billion-dollar company next week. And that's where a lot of people fail. That's the reason why businesses fail in that first 1 to 5 years, is because they don't have realistic expectation of what the long haul looks like. And the long haul is callbacks and customer complaints and employee problems if you have to hire people, and IRS and all these other entities that have really nothing to do about what's your widget or what's your trade or what you're trying to provide as a service to America or your city. There's a lot more involved than just going out there, because you can either own your job or you can build a company, and these are all things that really need to be in together. But I want us to remember as we close up that there is enough worry for today to suffice. So I would say that we have to forecast, and we have to look forward, and we have to predict, but then we have to have faith. We have to have faith that we are going to be able to handle it. Is that there is unpredictable things coming, but you handled today, and hopefully you handled it as well as you can. And there's going to be times where you don't handle it that well. But you got to get back up. You got to get back up to the plate, and you got to swing the bat again. And that comes either from a business to depression to everything. You just got get up, take a shower, look in the mirror, and say, I'm going to try one more thing today. I just want people to succeed, and I know how painful failure is. And you lose a lot of people in that process, but you gain a lot of information, and you gain some good ones. You gain some good people, and just don't stop. Don't stop. If this is what you've been called to do, and I'm speaking through to my Christian brothers and sisters, if God's put it on your heart to do something, and I don't think there's anything sinful about God putting on your heart to be a CPA or own a business and employ a couple hundred people and make $100 million. I think that's absolutely, if that's what you're called to do, then that's what you're supposed to do. But you better filter all that you do through the Scripture. And if you don't, then you're going to pay two consequences. The first consequence is business in this world is going to bust you up against the head. It's not when, it's not how, it's coming. I mean, you might as well just go ahead and get your parachute on because you're getting thrown out of the plane. But if you end up doing this outside of your beliefs, then one day you'll look at your business and it won't look anything like what you want it to. Don't sell out. Don't sell out for money or for any other reason than that your business was valued for a certain amount of money and it's time to sell. Don't lose your principles. I mean, today is got enough to worry. I wouldn't put too much in. You know, they say depression and anxiety is all about looking at yesterday and, well, feeling overwhelmed about what happened and you couldn't control yesterday and then trying to control tomorrow, when most of the time we leave today undone. Write you 4 or 5, 6 things down on a piece of paper. Call 10 people. Put in 5 applications. Let's say there's a job you want to, there's a job you want to get. Go on LinkedIn and try to find 3 people that work there and see if they'll talk to you. Don't quit, but get you a list of non-negotiable things that you have to do. And I will be honest, I didn't create that. I think it's something that was kind of ingrained. I watched my father write stuff down on a piece of paper, and he would check it off throughout the year. Through the day, and it was a rolling to-do list. His was pretty big. It always had a lot of stuff on it, so it was, for me, I have a little bit of a attention issue, so I'd get lost in that. So a long time ago, like 2015, 16, I was listening to the First Farm supplement company CEO, and he does his power list, and it's just 4 or 5 things, and you write them down in a notebook, and then you check them off, and then you get 100%. You get a check mark for that day. That's really good. I think that's a good way to win, but you got to hold yourself accountable. And he does the 75 hard stuff, which is another accountability program that is very, very difficult to do. The premise of this is you write things down and you do them before you go to bed. No matter what happens, no matter what jumps in your way, you just do it. And you get up to bat with them 5 things every day. And there will be days where you don't win. But there better be more days that you win than what you lose, or you've got a problem with what you're trying to get, or you have a problem with yourself. And then that's when the team comes in. That's when that person you can go sit down with that's going to tell you the truth and say, hey man, am I delusional, or is this something that I'm cut out for? When you look at me today and you hear me talk about this, do I have the passion, and do you believe I'm searching for something other than what God has for me in my life in this? And that's a problem with everybody. There's multimillionaires out there that have absolutely horrible lives, and there's people out there making $55,000 a year that, man, if you sat down and talked to them, you'd want their life immediately. You'd sell everything just to be able to fit underneath that umbrella. It's all about how you show up today. So for today, get you a team, get up to bat, put some stuff on a piece of paper. Don't make it 50 or 60 things that you have to do until you get better at this. Start with 2 or 3, make it 5, make it 6. This has got to be something you're going to have to figure out, but then hold yourself to a standard. You got to have a standard. And if you don't have a standard, then you're never going to, if you write it down and don't do it, then all you're doing is proving to yourself that you can't be trusted. So trust yourself, get up to bat. And the reason why you wouldn't do it is because you're scared to fail. And if you're scared to fail, just remember this. One of the biggest looking failures that has ever happened in history was one of the biggest movements in this world. A man came to earth, and this is where some of you are probably going to check out, but this is just who I am, is that, man, we're pretty messed up. When you get inside our chest and our heart and our mind, there's something broken in there, and everyone has a dark side. Everyone has something that doesn't work. So, just on a, he came here to fix that brokenness in us. The brokenness that we didn't even understand was broken because we don't know his standard on right and wrong. And, you looked, and this weekend, this next week, we're coming into Easter, and everyone knows about the resurrection and Christ, being crucified. But I think if you've ever really thought about that, with one word, he could have eliminated every person that was standing around him. But he said nothing. He said nothing about his pain, his suffering. He never said it hurt. It's never recorded anywhere that he asked for anything. To the point of sometimes not even answer questions during a certain amount of time. And I think that was a model for us to understand that sometimes that we're going to have to suffer. But we'll never suffer as much as he did. We'll never suffer that much. For a reason, because he stepped into that place to put the cap on suffering. He's put the lid on it. Well, some people are not up underneath that lid. And I would just invite you to probably shoot me a message, and we could get a little bit more deep into exactly what I believe is the most important thing in life. But there's always a but. There is someone out here. There is someone that knows exactly what you're going through, and he knows exactly the way you feel. There's nothing unique to you that he doesn't understand. While you are unique, and the things you go through and feel are unique, they're not unique to him, because he suffered them in about a 3 or 4 day span, and he did it without a word, and he did it without defense. When they begin to process him to death, to kill him, he didn't even raise a fist, because he knew his mission, and he knew what he was here to do. Do you? Do you know what you're here to do? That would be a great place to start when it comes to figuring this out. So I appreciate everybody. We're going to get more consistent, so at least once a week. Please. My last statement is that there's people out there today that do not believe they should live another day, or believe that their life is useless. I say that is one of the biggest lies you've ever been told, no matter what you've done, no matter who you did it to, no matter what the consequences will be or should be. You are not worthless. You are worth something to a lot of people, even if you do not believe that and you've been convinced otherwise. I beg you, if you feel like all hope is lost, you feel like your life is useless and there's no sense for you to be here anymore, please pick up the phone. I believe it, 988, there's suicide hotlines everywhere, but if you're a veteran, contact the VA immediately, contact an ER, call a friend, call a family member. Listen, if you've had these things come into your mind, if you've thought about how to do this, or you've pondered what life would be like without you, you need some help. You need some help, and it's not anything against you, it's everything for you. So my parting word with you is, we love you, and I'm speaking in place of your family and your friends and the people you're going to meet one day. This world needs you, and it needs you healthy and strong, even if that means that they need you while you're suffering consequences for bad behavior. Your behavior does not matter, and it does not constitute your life being taken by your own hands. Suicide is not the answer, and there is no reconciliation in leaving yourself in that kind of place. Reach out. You have no other choice but to reach out. Because right now, I believe that Jesus would have died for one person. If only one person believed in him, he would have still suffered what he suffered that is written in the Bible. Just one person. Not millions, not trillions, just one. He would have still done the same thing. So you are worth saving. And it's not that anyone's coming to save you. We want to grow old with you. No matter how difficult that might be and how many steps we got to take to get better, let's get better. So make that call right now. Pick up your phone and you call someone right now and tell them, I need help and I need you here right now. And you keep calling until someone comes. And my phone number is 352-318-8712. I don't care if I know you or not. I don't care how you've seen this message. All I care about that is if you call people and they won't come, you call 352-318-8712. And I will sit on the phone with you. And I will answer and I will be there for you no matter what. And we will start to get better. So thank everyone for being here. This is Ray Newman's with Coffee with Ray. We'll see you again soon.